Thank you. Okay, got it. Okay, I want to end with my favorite prayer, which most of you know, but I want to give some thoughts since we've just finished Thanksgiving week. The world seems a chaotic mess these days. We're afraid for ourselves, for our children, and our grandchildren. Many felt Thanksgiving Day was meaningless, but I do know that the faith within our sisterhood made each of us thankful for our blessings, and we told God so. Help us, Lord, to look at past tragedies reported on the news regarding man's sinfulness and those that are to come. Let us rather reflect on the kindness we each experience in our daily lives. I think of the lady who offered to take me to a seat yesterday when I was in Walmart and my leg gave out on me. Another one was in the parking lot and I was walking very slowly with my cane. She walked over to me and said, "Can I help you get to your car?" I encounter these acts of kindness every day. The smile, the good morning, have a blessed day from strangers, in stores and in public places. Wherever I go, people have been kind. I pray that you all and myself give off the same kindness to all we encounter. With that in mind, I would like us to follow the words of one of my favorite prayers. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is hope, despair. Where there is despair, hope. And where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Okay. All right. 30-second review on Abimelech, since it's been a couple of weeks. Okay. We met this very undelightful character, Abimelech. He went to his family, to his mother. He is the son of a Gideon, whom we learned all about from Jane, who was a good man. He was a judge, and he did good for the Israelites. Okay, and he had 70 sons. I've got some argument with some of the numbers, but that's kind of immaterial. God knows the exact number, but we'll use the number 70. Anyway, he had 70 sons, and not all of them are very good. And Abimelech was one of those that wasn't very good. So he went to his mother's family. Obviously, it wasn't one wife that had all 70 sons. So Abimelech, bless her heart. Abimelech went to his mother and to the family. Now his brothers, they refer to them as brothers, but they were cousins, aunts, uncles, of what, they were relatives, okay? Although they call them brothers. And they went to the town of Shechem. They lived there. There, from them, he convinced them he would be a great ruler and should be a king. So he got money from this family so that he could kill off all the other brothers. So he kills off the 70 brothers who were the sons of Gideon. And as we read through, if you'll notice the name Jerubbaal, that is another name for Gideon, but that's the same person, all right? So anyway, he becomes the king. Now, we have to bear in mind, he was not God appointed. He was self-promoted, and his family appointed him, all right? God did not call him to the office. That's one of the reasons he's not called the first king of Israel, okay? That title does not belong to him. His coronation took place in Shechem, and it took place by a tree, a special tree. And the reason that it's so special is when Joshua reached the promised land after the death of Moses and all, and he and the troops and the Israelites came into the land of Canaan with all the tribes, etc. Okay, he stopped at this place in Shechem, and at this tree he buried the law. When he left Moses, and before Moses, obviously before Moses died, Moses had him write the law on stones, and those stones were buried by this tree. And it's interesting that Abimelech, who broke every law imaginable, was anointed at this tree, a very special spot, okay? One of the sons of Gideon escaped. He was the very youngest. His name was Jotham. And Jotham was protected by some of the people who were taking care of him, and he was skedaddled off, okay? Now, Jotham, he couldn't be too terribly young at this point, because he did get up and speak to the people. And he gave we went over the fable of the tree. We're not going to go through that today. But he did put a curse on Abimelech. And that curse is very significant in the history of the Israelite people. And his curse was, let fire come down from Abimelech and devour the men of Shechem and Beth Millo, and let fire come from the men of Shechem and from Beth Millo to devour Abimelech. And that's what's going to take place towards the end of this. So he cursed them. It kind of looks, it's kind of between a prophecy and a curse, but it's really a curse on them, okay? So that's where we ended last time we covered this. And we now are going to go into, okay, we are going to go to, all the readings will be in chapter 9 of Judges, if you want to keep your Bible up to date there, where we are. And we are going to start out with, remember the curse, okay? It wasn't fulfilled immediately. It took 3 years, right? So let's start out with chapter 9, verses 22 through 25. Marlene, can we start with you and go across? Okay. Marlene, would you read verses 22 through 25?
Now Abimelech ruled over Israel 3 years. Then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem, and the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech, so that the violence done to the 70 sons of Jerubbaal might come, and their blood might be laid on Abimelech, their brother, who killed them, and on the men of Shechem, who strengthened his hands to kill his brothers. The men of Shechem set men in ambush against him on the tops of the mountains, and they robbed all who might pass by them along the road, and it was told to Abimelech.
Thank you, Marlene. Okay.
Barbara?
Yes, ma'am.
I think those verses are a good example. When you take things by cheating,
yep,
you lose. The cheaters turn on you.
You do. I mean, evil begets evil. It leads. I mean, if you do, and I think any of us, this kind of goes off a bit, but I think we see that in the people around us. If people gain by doing, as you say, by cheating or by being dishonest, by hurting others, it doesn't have a happy ending. And I don't really think those people themselves are very happy. It's just not, because they're always looking, number one, looking over their shoulder. Okay, who's going to get them whom they hurt? Okay, and they don't have the confidence. So it's not. I don't think I would not be happy if I got somewhere by evil, because okay, now who's going to knock me out? Who's going to get rid of me? Who's going to, and what's going to replace me? So yeah, very definitely, it's evil begets evil, very definitely. God sent a spirit of ill will. Okay, now this spirit of ill will, who do you think that was? Who did God commission to do this?
Jotham.
I'm sorry, what?
Did you say Jotham made the curse? Is that what you're asking?
He cursed him. But who do you think the evil spirit was who stirred up all the trouble?
Satan.
Satan.
Satan, right. This was, and God, and this is something we find in the Bible. Now we know Satan does a lot of work on his own, but there are times when God has commissioned Satan to enter certain historical situations, okay? Because that's the good way to start the trouble, if that's what God wants to start up. And we know we got to get rid of Abimelech, okay? So yes, that is Satan doing that. So everything was fine at this point between the men of Shechem and Abimelech for 3 years. Then in judgment, God removed the peace that was between Satan and the spirit in Abimelech and the men of Shechem. Now the writer of Judges uses an interesting word when he speaks about
Uh-oh.
it's now reigning, I mean R-E-I-G-N, not R-A-I-N, okay? That Abimelech reigned. He doesn't say he was king over or anything like that, but he uses the word reigned. The word is unique to the book of Judges, and it's perhaps chosen to distinguish Abimelech's ill-fated rule from that of true judges. And Abimelech was more of a tyrant than a king. He was not a wise and merciful judge, okay? Wasn't even a wise and merciful king, all right? He just kind of plunked himself in there, okay? If you have, don't go to any major trouble, but if you've got your maps handy, you don't have them marked by yourself, on the right-hand lower corner, it says 63. And it's the location in Judges, chapters 9 through 12. So it tells us here, the extent of Abimelech's region was very limited. It included Shechem, Beth Millo, Arumah, and Tebez. Now, if you look on your map, just almost plunk in the middle, is the River Jordan, and up against the River Jordan on the left side, you all on your the map we've been using, you'll see Shechem. Okay.
Barbara, is it this map?
No, it.
If you hold it up, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay.
Is it number 7? Is it page 7?
No, it's page 11.
Oh, 11.
We don't have that one.
That
Yeah.
never got sent out, Barbara.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I'll see what I can do about that. But well, okay, let me just show you this. Here's the map, okay? Now I have circled from here. Okay, just this here, it's like a boot. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
If everybody goes to page 7, the
Okay,
map
yeah.
on
They'll see
page
Shechem.
7, they'll see Shechem.
Shechem. It just doesn't show the other.
Yeah.
It doesn't show the other cities.
Oh, okay, I see it.
Yeah, you see Shechem? Well,
Yeah.
right
Mhm.
under it, do you have Mizpah on there? Underneath Shechem?
No.
Okay. Well, it's just a spit and throw from Arumah is it's just under Mount Gerizim, which I know you've got on there. Okay. And next to Mount Gerizim, I can't read it, Gerizim, is Beth Millo. Okay. And then north of Shechem, about 3 times the distance that those are below, is Tebez. And that kind of forms like a little boot if you put a pencil mark around it. And that's all he ruled. it's not like he ruled this, that whole side of the Jordan or anything like that. It's a very small area. But remember, this time in Israel's history is still very tribal, okay? You don't have the kingdom. You don't have, obviously don't have the United Kingdom of Judah and Israel, okay? So his little, that's all he's leading. But it's amazing the damage he did just reigning over that little bit of an area. So that just kind of gives you an idea. I don't know why I've got that map and you all don't, but anyway. Okay.
Barbara,
Yes.
because we only send it out as each person teaches. If
Oh.
you want, Jane, can you send it out this week?
Right now I can't because I don't have a printer to scan.
Yeah, let
Okay,
me see
we-
what
My
I
maybe
can,
printer
Donna
broke. I
can.
haven't replaced it yet.
I'll see what I can do on it. I'll see if I can scan it and send it.
If you want to send it to me, Barbara, I can include it in the, if
Oh,
you
in
can
the
scan
email.
it and email it to me, I can put
Okay.
it in the email, but I just can't scan right now.
Right, I
Okay.
understand. Okay.
And if
I'll-
Barbara can't, I'll get you a copy.
Okay,
We'll get that.
thank you.
It's really a map of Canaan where the tribe settled, and that was in there. So, but it is a small area. So you understand that. Okay. So God gave the devil this commission to enter into the minds and the work and the heart of the men of Shechem and of Abimelech. Okay. And this is the devil in there. And it says the devil would fill them with mistakes and jealousies and dissensions and heartburning. Doesn't that sound familiar? When we let the devil in, don't we experience the same idea? Okay, we make mistakes, judgmental mistakes. We are jealous, we're envious, arguments, dissensions, and our heart isn't in the right place. Okay, and that's the devil working on it. And it ends in civil wars and mutual ruin when it happens to nations. Okay, I equate, this is me, but when I think of the devil entering my life or anyone else's life, to me, it's equal with the word chaos, because nothing runs the way it should run. Okay, and it's evil based. And this is what's going on now. Okay, God lets the devil interfere and do his thing. Of course, the devil was thrilled. For sure, that was a happy day for him. But anyway, he is what is pushing these people to do what they push. Now, he set men in ambush. They robbed all who passed by. Do you have any idea why they did that? Anybody got a stab at that? That why these men from Shechem decided they would rob people on the roads? Well, it's a military strategy. And prompted by this spirit of ill will, the men of Shechem set ambushes on the mountain roads, hoping to disrupt the trade routes that profited Abimelech. Follow the money. You got money, power. You take that money away, you're going to lose power. Okay? These people aren't going to come in to this area if they're going to be attacked. Yes, it had trade routes, caravans went on them, but it's such a small area that there were other ways. It may have been the shortest distance between 2 points, but it wasn't the only way, because if they went east, they get to the Mediterranean, which obviously was a very busy area for the trade routes. Okay, and then on the west was the Jordan River. So this would affect reducing the number of travelers and caravans in such a troubled area, thus emptying the pockets of Abimelech, as well as hitting his pride, for he could not guarantee the safety of travel in his dominion. And you know, how many places, even in modern day, do we say, you know, areas, beautiful vacation spots, they drop down in popularity because there may be cartels there. I mean, Mexico went through a real dry spell where nobody would go into Mexico. Cancun, which was, you know, I've been there many times, but man, when that all started, I wasn't going to go into Cancun. Okay, so that pulls back where if it's going to be dangerous, we don't go into those areas. Okay, I don't think any of us are going to go into Ukraine lately just for vacation on the beach. Okay, because it's a hostile area, and that was, so it's a military. They weren't doing it to get the money. They were doing it to create this chaos. Okay, so that these people would not come this way, and Abimelech would start losing money. So that was not on the agenda. Okay, let us look at, let's see, Jean, you're there. Would you please read in chapter 9, verses 26 through 29?
Now Gal, son of Ebed, moved with his clan into Shechem, and its citizens put their confidence in him. After they had gone out into the fields and gathered the grapes and trodden them, they held a festival in the temple of their God. While they were eating and drinking, they cursed Abimelech. Then Gal, son of Ebed, said, "Who is Abimelech, and why should we Shechemites be subject to him? Isn't he Jerubaal's son? Why isn't Zebul his deputy? Serve the family of Hamor, Shechem's father. Why should we serve Abimelech? If only this people were under command, then I would get rid of him. I would say to Abimelech, call out your whole army."
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the men of Shechem now, with all that's going on and all the devil's intercession here, decided that yeah, Abimelech is a tyrant. He's an evil man. He's killed so many people for no reason at all. We need to get rid of him. Okay, and it just took that little seed from Gael to come in there and attack Abimelech and say, well, we know he's bad, but you know, if you put me in there, I could do a really good job. Okay, I mean, he was building himself up and boasting to these people that, you know, I can kill him and his army, and I will be a much better ruler. This was his whole point. Okay, and the people fell for it. It makes me think of modern day politics, and I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying it's terrible when you go to the polls and instead of voting for the best person, you're voting for the lesser of two evils. And I kind of look at this as that kind of situation. Neither one's going to do a good job, okay? But you're going to look at the one that, well, that one was bad. Maybe we'll try this one and things will get better. You know, this was what? This was 1,000 years before Christ, and before that, even 1,500 years before Christ. And we're talking 3,500 years ago, and things haven't changed a whole lot. So we're still there. That was one of the things I was thinking of when I did my little prelude there before the prayer, was that we're very obsessed right now, and rightly so, with all the shootings and all the bad things going on in the world. But that's nothing new. It's been going on since Adam and Eve had their little do, and Cain killed Abel. Okay, the man has done evil things. So we need to look for the good, and we need to do the good. And if each of us does our part, it can change the world. Not maybe in our day, but someday. So as I say, it's nothing new. So anyway, this guy gets up and he, you know, I'm the one to do this. I almost in a modest way, but well, you know, if you really need somebody, I'm here. You know, okay. Nobody else put their hand up and said, "Oh, I'll do it." Okay. So this is kind of what was going on. So the men of Shechem did put their confidence in him. Before we start this, get involved in this section, bear in mind the times, in that they talk of the men of Shechem, and they're talking of armies. Okay. when they talk about all the men of Shechem, it's the ones who put Abimelech in power, okay? And those that are in his army and those who are profiting by his leadership, okay? Because obviously he has to pay some people pretty good or they even shot off years ago. So because it's going to come up later, you know, the men of Shechem die, but there are more men that show up. But we're talking here about those that are with Abimelech, in some of those who were with Abimelech and close to him and decided they're tired of the way they're being treated, so they joined this other guy, okay? But it's not the rank and file everyday guy at the grocery store, okay? It's the ones that are involved a lot more, okay? And they're the ones that rebelled. So, okay, so the men of Shechem put their confidence in this gal and they choose him as their leader, okay? Well, they went into the house of their God and ate and drank and cursed Abimelech. Okay, remember, we're in Canaan, okay? Remember, God told Joshua and the people who went in there, wipe out the Canaanites, kill them all right? We've got to get rid of them. We don't want any of them left. They're ungodly, they are worshiping idols, they're living in sin, debauchery, etc., etc. But even Joshua, did they go in and kill all these people and get rid of them? No. So you've got these Canaanites in Shechem who are still worshiping their idols, still living in sin and debauchery, okay, still evil men, all right? So they think this is a great idea. We've got a new leader. Let's eat, drink, and be merry, okay? And that's what they do. They go into the house of their God and they eat and they drink. Okay, now I will admit at Rejoice, we go in and we eat and we drink, okay? But it's not the kind of eating and drinking that they're referring to what we consider the homeless and the orgies and the drunkenness and all that kind of. I think most of us stop after 2 glasses of wine, so it's not the same thing. But they do it they do it in their places of worship. Okay, at least we don't do it in the sanctuary. So, but they do it in their places of worship. All right. So they were sure this leader was going to protect them, and it's interesting because they never even worked together as a unit. And you know yourself, when our troops are trained to go into a war zone, they are trained. They're trained to work together. Everybody has their job, all right? These guys, this is a bunch of guys that got together, okay? And they say, oh yeah, let's make them leader, let's go out and celebrate. All right, so right off the bat, that doesn't sound like a real good plan that's going to work, but that's what they do. Okay. We lost Janet. Verna, would you please read chapter 9, verses 30 through 33, please?
Okay, thank you. When Zebul, the governor of the city, heard what Gaal, son of Ebed, said, he was very angry. Undercover, he sent messengers to Abimelech, saying, Gaal, son of Ebed, and his clan have come to Shechem and are stirring up the city against you. Now then, during the night, you and your men should come and lie in wait in the fields. In the morning, at sunrise, advance against the city. When Gaal and his men come out against you, seize the opportunity to attack them.
Thank you. Okay, so Zebul is the ruler of this city, kind of like the city manager, mayor, whatever, okay? And he heard what was being planned, and he was angry. So I would say, obviously, that Zebul is a friend to Abimelech and is probably doing very well under his authority, okay? He's probably getting money. I would say he was probably appointed by Abimelech, so he's, in his pocket, all right? So he doesn't want to see this this guy, this drunken guy coming in and taking over. He's very happy in the position he had. It's similar to what we saw in the time of Christ, when Christ is put on trial, and the dealings with people like Pontius Pilate and Herod and all, who are, Israelites, okay, but they were put there in their positions by Rome, and they're doing very well under Roman rule, making money, et cetera, so they don't like to rock the boat. So this guy, Zebul, does not want to rock the boat, okay? So he goes and he talks to Abimelech, and he tells them, rise up early in the morning, and you got to defend the city. So he says, you need to organize a surprise attack against the rebels of Shechem. These guys had no idea that somebody would go and tell Abimelech what they're going to do. They thought they'd just come in, take over, and that's the end of it, okay? But Abimelech is going to be prepared. Janet, would you read verses 34 through 41, please?
So Abimelech and all the troops with him got up by night and lay in wait against Shechem in 4 companies. When Gaal, son of Ebed, went out and stood in the entrance of the gate of the city, Abimelech and the troops with him rose from ambush. And when Gaal saw them, he said to Zebul, look, people are coming down from the mountaintop. And Zebul said to him, the shadows on the mountains look like people to you. Gaal spoke again and said, look, people are coming down from Tabor Erez, and one company is coming from the direction of Elon Meyaneman. Then Zebul said to him, where is your boat? That's it?
I think lost it here, or am I lost?
I might have come before.
See, the people are coming down from the center of the land, and another company is coming from the diviner's terebinth tree. Do you have that?
People are coming down from Tabor Erez, it says.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different. That's okay. Go on.
And one company is coming from the direction of Elon Moenman.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have that, but that's okay.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
have that either.
Yeah.
Don't either.
Then Zebul said to him, where is your boast now,
Yeah.
you who said, who is Abimelech, that we should serve him, and not these the troops you made light of? Go out now and fight with them. So Gaal went out at the head of the lords of Shechem and fought with Abimelech. Abimelech chased him, and he fled before him. Many fell wounded up to the entrance of the gate. So Abimelech resided at Arumah, and Zebul drove out Gaal and his kinsfolks, so that they could not live on at Shechem.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So Abimelech and all the people who were with him rose that night and lay in wait. He decided he would follow the plan that Zebul had told him. Okay. Zebul said to him, to the Gaal, okay, you see the shadows of the mountain as if they were men. All right. Zebul deceived Gaal, allowing Abimelech's troops to take position. With the advantage of their superior position, Abimelech and his soldiers drove out Gaal and his men. And I think, well, don't forget now, they've been out on a drunken brawl the night before. So their thinking, their vision, their movements were not with a clear head, okay? And I mean, that shows stupidity right off there. All right, you don't go have a drunken brawl and then the next day go to take over power from somebody, okay? Ain't gonna work, all right? And so they fell for Zebul's idea of saying, well, those are just shadows, you're just seeing things, okay? And remember too, there were not electric light poles along the road so that they could see people coming and going, okay? If it wasn't a full moon, the visibility was going to be pretty bad. So Zebul convinced them that these shadows these people were shadows, okay? And so they were very brave, all right? So, but Gael was not prepared for a major battle, okay? He had little choice but to leave the city walls behind and confront Abimelech out in the open, okay? See, Abimelech had sneaked around. I could be wrong, but I've read this enough times that I think Abimelech was not currently in this in the city itself, the city walls, okay, but that he was in the surrounding area, and so he sneaked in on the mountainside, okay, and Gael realized that, okay, I can't fight this. I was going to go into the city, kill them all, and then leave. That didn't work, so he left. He leaves, okay. Where am I? Jolene, could you read 42 through 45?
Yes. On the following day, the men went out into the fields, and Abimelech was told he could take his men and divide them into 3 companies and laid wait in the fields. And he looked and saw the men coming out of the city, and he rose against them and slew them. Abimelech and the company that was with him rushed forward and stood at the entrance of the gate of the city, while the 2 companies rushed upon all who were in the fields and slew them. And Abimelech fought against the city all that day. He took the city and killed the people that were in it, and he razed the city and sowed it with salt.
Okay, so see, he was outside the city, and he came down, and he got all those, killed them all, okay? It says, the statement, it came on the next day. So with the resistance of Gael defeated, Abimelech would find it easy to establish his control over the city of Shechem again, both outside and inside the city. They effectively attacked and killed the people of Shechem, even those not directly involved with the rebellion. So when Abimelech came through here, he killed all those that were with the rebellion out in the field, okay? But then he went one step further, and he went inside the city and killed most of the people, whether they had anything to do with the rebellion or not. But it's still not over. There's still some people there, okay? The people who were in there after all the others were killed and this and the other thing, apparently confidence in the matter was concluded. They went out into the fields again, as usual, to engage in their daily occupations. Remember, there's the walled city, all right, which has residences and all kinds of things. But the walls did not surround like the farmland, grazing land, this kind of thing, okay, and where some trade took place. So the people went out and thought, oh, it's over, let's go out and go to work, okay? So they thought was okay. And they, from what I can gather, they really didn't like Abimelech, but they weren't going to rebel, okay? But he took the city and killed the people who were in the city, and he demolished the city and sowed it with salt. Abimelech then turned his fury against the people of Shechem and killed as many of them as he could and demolished their city. Indeed, Shechem was not rebuilt until the reign of Jeroboam I, almost 2 centuries later. I'll read something about Shechem in a minute. That's kind of interesting. This shows the problem of following a man. This is what you said, Marlene, who comes to power through violence. Commonly, it is only a matter of time until the same violence is turned against those who helped him into power, okay? So it's not only Abimelech who's in danger, but all those who helped Abimelech get to where he was. Now we're going to get to even more bloodshed. Okay, where are we? Jolene, you read, did you? Deborah, would you read 46 to 49, please?
Certainly, and I'm reading from the NIV.
Okay.
On hearing this, the citizens in the tower of Shechem went into the stronghold of the temple of El-Berith. When Abimelech heard that they had assembled there, he and all his men went up Mount Salem. He took an axe and cut off some branches, which he lifted to his shoulders. He ordered the men with him, "Quick, do what you have seen me do." So all the men cut branches and followed Abimelech. They piled them against the stronghold and set it on fire over the people inside. So all the people in the tower of Shechem, about 1,000 men and women, also died.
Yeah, so this is not very nice. Okay.
Mm.
Abimelech took an axe in his hand and cut down a bough. What you have seen me do, make haste and do as I have done. Okay, so Abimelech was an ungodly and a violent man. He wasn't stupid. Okay, he understood some basic principles of leadership. He understood the importance of leading through example. Unfortunately, his example was evil. But he took one of his own actions and wanted the people who were following him and fighting with him to follow his action. He could tell his troops to do as I have done, and they did. So all the people of the Tower of Shechem died, about 1,000 men and women, and with this Abimelech massacred the last survivors of the city of Shechem, killing about 1,000 men and women. This graphically fulfilled the warning of Jotham earlier in the chapter. Okay, if I'm going to read you let me read this one thing first. This was as if a man ran a stack of straw or a barrel of gunpowder to secure himself from a raging fire. Their covenant with Baal, that image of jealousy, was the cause of their ruin. They looked upon this hold as both a fort and a sanctuary, but it saved them not. So these people, although it seems horrible that Abimelech went and killed all these people that were in the tower who appeared innocent as far as the city was concerned. Whoops. I hate when this happens. Okay. It's a touch screen, drives me nuts. But they were guilty too, okay? If they didn't actively put Abimelech in power, they were still totally guilty of abandoning the God of Israel, Yahweh, okay? And they worship Baal and the idols, okay? So they were, in the eyes of God, they deserved to die. They were living in sin, okay? I will read you a little something about Shechem here that how archaeology, I've got the NIV, but it's the archaeological Bible, and it brings up discoveries through the ages of biblical sites, etc. And what's wonderful about it is that these sites weren't dug up or things found until, 17, 18, 1900s AD. All right, but they support the stories that we do see in the Bible. And Shechem is one that is quite well supported by archaeological finds. Gotta pull out my eyes have to get better, or the print's got to get bigger, one or the other. We're not working together here. Okay. All right. Gideon's son Abimelech attempted to become king of Israel by taking control of Shechem, an important commercial and political center. He was given funds from the temple of Baal Berith. Baal was the Canaanite storm god and the god of fertility. Several archaeological findings at Shechem relate directly to Judges. A great fortress temple evacuated there has been identified as the temple of this chapter. It was constructed in the 17th century BC and lasted until the city's destruction by Abimelech in the 12th century BC. The largest temple yet found in Canaan. It was 70 feet by 86 feet. In front is a courtyard with a sacred stone. This sacred stone may be the pillar where the coronation ceremony took place when Abimelech was declared king. Gaal observed Abimelech and his men approaching the city. Leaving the security of the walls of Shechem, Gaal engaged Abimelech in battle, but was defeated. The gate is an impressive structure, 54 feet by 16 feet wide and 44.4 feet deep. Evidence of massive destruction from the time of Abimelech has been found throughout the site, attesting to his raising of the city. So that it existed, it was there. We have no doubt. So that's not some fairy tale made up by some people. That corroborates the evidence. Okay, for the people of Shechem, even a secure tower could not protect them. Yes. Excuse me. I came from my.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yes,
God
there.
bless you.
Okay, so they found evidence of this tower. Now, that tower had to be humongous to hold 1,000 people. How many of you have ever been inside the Statue of Liberty? Gone up. Okay. I don't know how many it holds. If you've ever gone up that staircase, it's like hundreds on that staircase. So, and that's just the peripheral area going up. So imagine a tower, if it had levels, could probably hold 1,000 people. So it is a possibility, which to me is a dangerous thing to do, to go to put everybody in one spot. You know, you only got one place to get out. You get in one place, you get out the other. It's not going to work very well. But now they make what the commentators on this have made a lovely analogy. It says, for the people of Shechem, even a secure tower could not protect them. Yet there is a more secure tower than the Tower of Shechem. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. And we can find this in two statements that they bring up. There's probably more. The first is in Proverbs, specifically verse 10, Proverbs 18, verse 10. But I'm going to also read what comes after it, because it's, I don't like just one line. I need a little story with it. And verse 10 says, the name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. The wealth of the rich is their fortified city. They imagine it a wall too high to scale. And to me, that is such a wonderful contrast, because it's true. The rich, the powerful, the dishonest. And when I say rich, I'm not talking about the man who has money legitimately, but those who just seek money for power. Okay. And they frequently call it the tower, Trump Tower. We've got towers. I'm not saying that as a jest, but you know, there's towers all over, and it's used as a tower is a very powerful image. Okay, but the real tower is God. God is our tower, and that's who we should go to be protected. Okay, he's the fortified tower. Then there's also a reference to it in Psalm 61. From the ends of the earth, I call to you. I call as my heart grows faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. For you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the foe. And we know in times of trouble, if we go to God, we not seek earthly things, but go to God and lean on God. That's what he's there for. He carries us. He walks with us. We can lean on God, and he is our tower. And I think that's a lovely analogy that they have made here. What time is it? Let's see. Okay, we're almost finished. Where was I? Deborah. Laura, would you read 50 to 55, please?
Sorry, I'm having trouble unmuting here.
Okay.
Um,
You're okay.
50 to 55.
55, please.
Okay. Next, Abimelech went to Thebez and besieged and captured it. Inside the city, however, was a strong tower to which all the men and women, all the people of the city fled. They locked themselves in and climbed up on the tower roof. Abimelech went to the tower and stormed it. But as he approached the entrance to the tower to set it on fire, a woman dropped an upper millstone on his head and cracked his skull. Hurriedly, he called to his armor bearer, "Draw your sword and kill me, so that they cannot say a woman killed him." So his servant ran him through, and he died. When the Israelites saw that Abimelech was dead, they went home.
Okay, so Abimelech came as far as the tower and fought against it. After his brutal victory at the Tower of Shechem, Abimelech probably thought he was an expert at attacking towers. So he went to Thebez and attacked the city and tower there. Why? We don't, he just did it. They were not rebelling, but I guess he wanted to nip it in the bud. A certain woman dropped an upper millstone on Abimelech's head and crushed his skull. So this woman struck his skull and it mortally wounded him. This was probably a stone used to grind by hand. Such hand stones average 10 to 14 inches long. So we're talking about a foot, foot long, okay, and weighed about 5 pounds or more. So yeah, I could see dropping it could kill somebody. It doesn't seem like it's that big, but if it was his time, it was his time.
Or somebody could.
He did live a little bit longer. He says, "Draw your sword and kill me, lest men say of me, a woman killed him." Well, Abimelech considered it manlier to be killed by his own armor bearer. I love this, but he was still dead afterwards. So, yeah, that's the way it happened. Okay, proud even in death, he then had to answer to God for his wicked actions. But commentators observe it for just a hand of God upon Abimelech, that upon one stone he had slain 70 brethren, and now a stone slayeth him. His head had stolen the crown of Israel, and now his head is smitten. And I will close with something from Samuel. But I want to say, I just have one more paragraph to go, which I'll start with next week, won't take long, and then we will get into chapter 10, okay? So we have followed the life of Abimelech, the not very nice person, okay? And they say live and die by the sword. Well, I guess he lived and died by the stone, but nevertheless, he got his just deserts. I think a big lesson for everybody, if they read it in the sense of getting the lesson being taught, okay, that kindness and goodness are what count, not being a liar and a cheat and stepping on people. And I mean, he's in Judges, but he was not a judge, okay? He also was not a king, okay? But it was his time, so that's why he's kind of fit in there. But there is a reference to his being killed by a woman that is found in 2 Samuel. And,
Laura, say something.
yeah. Yes, ma'am. Laura.
I just wanted to say, never underestimate the power of the mama bear trying to protect her own.
You got it, girl. I'm sure if he walked in our room, he'd have problems too, don't you? We would take care of it. This little section here, it refers to the incident after Uriah. Is it Uriah? Yeah, the husband of Bathsheba was killed. Okay, and you know that David sent Joab and said, kill him, put him in the front line of battle. I want him dead. Put him right up there, okay? And this is it refers back to this. Joab sent, this is after the battle. Joab sent David a full account of the battle. He instructed the messenger, when you have finished giving the king this account of the battle, the king's anger may flare up and he may ask you, why did you go so close to the city to fight? Did you know they would shoot arrows from the wall? Okay, so again, this is the thing. When you attacked a wall, you didn't get that close at first, okay? You tried to get the guys on the top and let them lean over and kill, okay? And the reason that Abimelech had died was because he got too close to the wall. But he thought he was indestructible. Okay, oh, I won it the first time around, I'm just gonna go in there and get them. Well, he got too close to the wall, okay? So why did you get so close to the city to fight? Didn't you know they would shoot arrows from the wall? This is the statement. Who killed Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal? Didn't a woman drop an upper millstone on him from the wall so that he died in Thebez? Why did you get so close to the wall? If he asks you this, then say to him, moreover, your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead. Okay, so this will show David that Uriah probably knew better, that he was told, go right up to the wall, fight it right up to the wall. And that was when that was when he was killed. So by the same method. But what's interesting about this, in my commentary, it said that he wanted his armor bearer to kill him, which he did. He would have died anyway, but that put the final deal into it, because he didn't want people to be remembered that a woman had killed him. Well, it shows up in the Bible in 2 Samuel. Okay, so
You don't always get what you want, do you?
got him, she got him. So I think that's I think that was an interesting little side there that had happened. So anyway, okay, it is 12:15 on the dot, and we will start with chapter 10 next week. The rest of them go fast. It's not as long involved as Abimelech was. Okay.